My name is Sherilyn Williams, and I'm your local Chicagoland and Indiana realtor, helping you build your dreams through real estate. And if you need any help with your real estate needs here in Chicagoland or in Indiana, please send me a direct message. I would love to connect with you. Today I want to discuss how the real estate industry is about to change for you home buyers due to a policy that goes into effect August 17th, 2024. But before I get into the details of how it's going to affect you as a home buyer, I want to first go back and explain to you how all of this transpired and how this all came to be. A few years back, there were some home sellers that decided to sue NAR, or the National Association of Realtors, because they felt that they didn't have enough transparency when they listed their home with their listing agent. These home sellers stated that they were not aware that the commission between the listing agent and themselves was negotiable. And this has always been the practice in real estate. A commission is always negotiable between the home seller and the listing agent. So a listing agent and the home seller could agree upon a commission of 4%, 6%, or 10%. It's whatever the two parties decide. Now, these home sellers said they did not know this, and that when they met with their listing agent and they decided on the commission, their listing agent had a set commission price. Another reason why these home sellers were very upset and decided to sue the NAR is because they didn't feel it was fair that they had to pay both their listing agent's commission and the buyer's agent's commission. In real estate, it has been the customary practice for decades and many years that the home sellers will pay their listing agent, and then that listing agent would share or split that commission with the buyer's agent for bringing a ready and willing and able buyer. So for example, if the home seller and the listing agent came up with a commission of 5%, that listing agent would split that 5% commission in half, so that listing agent would get 2.5% and that buyer's agent would get 2.5%. And then that percentage is split amongst each of the brokerages for the agents. These home sellers said, you know what, that's not fair. I only want to pay my particular agent. Why do I have to pay a buyer's agent? The buyer should have to pay for their own agent. Now, another part of this lawsuit is that the DOJ, or the Department of Justice, felt that NAR and realtors were violating the Anti-Sherman Trust Act by listing the commission of how much the buyer's agent would receive in the MLS, which caused realtors to steer their home buyer clients to certain homes in order to get a higher commission. On the MLS, or the multiple listing service, a listing agent will list the home on the MLS, and at the bottom of the listing will have how much that buyer's agent would receive. So in our example of the 5%, the listing agent would post at the bottom of the MLS sheet that that buyer's agent would get a 2.5% commission. So now we are no longer able to put how much the buyer's agent would receive in commission on the MLS. This area will be totally eliminated on August 17th, 2024. Now, for me personally, I have never had the desire to try and get a higher commission and steer my clients to particular homes. I know for me, when my buyer clients say they want to go see a home, we go see a home. If they want to write a contract, we write a contract. And oftentimes when I'm writing the contract, that's when I realize what the commission I will actually be getting paid. Now, there are some realtors in this industry that have, been unethical, and they have done this steering practice, which actually gives all of us a bad name, which is really, really unfortunate, and it really makes me angry. But I digress. So let's get into how this new policy is going to affect you as a home buyer. Starting on August 17th, you as a home buyer will be required to sign a mandatory buyer brokerage agency agreement form with a realtor in order to see or tour any home. No longer will you be able to call up a realtor and say, hey, I really want to see this house. Can you go and take me to go see this house, without you signing anything? That's no longer going to be in practice. You will be required to sign a form before seeing any home. And you will also be required to work with that specific realtor for a duration of time. So it's going to be very important for you to really vet and interview several realtors to make sure that you all can work together, you're on the same page, and you want a realtor that's going to be an advocate for you and who will be able to negotiate a great deal for you. So on the buyer agency brokerage form, you will be required to work a certain duration of time with your realtor that will need to be indicated on this form. So you may decide, oh, well, I'll just work with this realtor for 1 week or maybe 1 month or 6 months or a year, but that will need to be on the form. Now, the second term on this form that has really got a lot of people in the hoopla is that home buyers will now be required to pay their own agent. No longer is a seller required to pay a buyer's agent if they don't want to. So on this form, you and your agent will come up with a certain amount, whether it be a percentage of the purchase price of a home or it be a flat fee. That will be specifically between you and your realtor, and it has to be on the form that you're going to pay them. Now, I know for many home buyers, this is going to be really challenging, especially if you are a first-time home buyer, because not only do you have to come up with the down payment and closing costs to buy a home, you now are going to have to pay your agent. So this is really going to be challenging for many first-time home buyers. However, there is another option. If you decide, look, I don't have the money to pay for an agent, or I just don't want to pay for an agent, you could, as a home buyer, go directly to that listing agent of the home that you want to see or that home that you want to write a contract on, and you can deal directly with that listing agent. More than likely, you will have to sign a form with them, but I want you to understand that you will not be represented by that listing agent. And I repeat, you will not be represented by that listing agent. That listing agent has a fiduciary duty to that home seller where they have to put the best interest of that home seller first before yours. So you will essentially be working for yourself. So you will be responsible for meeting all the deadlines that are required in a real estate transaction. For example, you'll have your home inspection, you'll have your appraisal, you may have a well and septic inspection, your attorney review period. You'll have to do all of that yourself if you decide not to have a buyer agent representation. Now, I had mentioned earlier that a home seller can pay a buyer's agent or offer you concessions if they want to, but it's not required. So a home seller can still say, you know what, I want to offer a concession, help the buyer out. I know how hard it is to come up with all the money to buy a home. And they can still do that, but it's no longer a requirement. And I feel that it'll be in the best interest of many sellers to go ahead and offer something to your agent or the buyer's agent in a commission, because then they'll get more buyers into their home to see their home. If the home seller doesn't offer a commission or some type of concession, then that your realtor or you don't even have to go look at the home, and your realtor doesn't have to show that home, which can really affect the home seller. Now, back to that buyer agency form. If you decide that you are going to pay your realtor, you need to state on that form what that flat fee or commission will be. And that's negotiable between you and your realtor. Some realtors will have, you pay me 2%, 3%. Some will say this is my flat fee, but that's going to be negotiable between you and your realtor, and it has to be indicated on that form. So let's say that you and your agent come up with a commission on the buyer agency agreement form of 2% that you'll pay your agent. And let's say the home seller says, you know what, but I'll give you 3%. Your agent cannot all of a sudden say, oh, well, I'll go with the seller's agent because it's more, it's more of commissions, 1% higher. They have to abide by the commission that you all agreed to on your form. If you like the information that I provided in this video, please don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to my channel so that this information can get out to more home sellers and home buyers. So just to recap, let's go over the 3 options that you have as a home buyer as far as commissions are concerned. You can pay a buyer's agent commission, and you all can agree upon that commission, or you could have your agent reach out to the home seller and see if that home seller would be able to pay your buyer's agent or offer some type of concession. Or you could go directly to the listing agent of that home and see if you can do it yourself. But remember, you're not being represented. So I really hope this video has been valuable to you home buyers in this new policy that goes into effect August 17th. And if you have any comments, please drop them in the comments below. and tell me how you feel about this whole new change in the real estate industry. Thank you for watching.